Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from Kiss.
Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas from Kiss.
Ho, ho, ho! I'm wishing everybody a really Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year.
Someone stole Santa? That does not rock!
What's going on, vinyl community? Welcome to another episode of 25 Days of KISSmas, where every day leading up to KISSmas, I will be reviewing and discussing every Kiss studio album plus more. For the fourth episode, I will be reviewing the Destroyer album from 1976. Just a brief crash course. Kiss's reputation as a live band was building, but it wasn't quite reflective of their album sales, and their label Casablanca was on the verge of bankruptcy. So to capitalize on the band's live reputation and in an attempt to save the label, it was decided that they would record a live album, and the end result was Kiss Alive, which did save the label, became the band's breakthrough album, and set a blueprint for future live albums to come. But how do you top such a success? Enter Bob Ezrin, who was known for doing phenomenal work with the original Alice Cooper band, and he does what he does best. He completely transforms the bands that he works with, and the end result is what many will regard to be Kiss's best album. So let's dig into the album. Track 1, Detroit Rock City. Paul was inspired by the true story of a fan who was killed on his way to a Kiss concert in Charlotte, North Carolina, but given the immense connection Kiss had with the city of Detroit, it made sense to have a nod to the great Motor City that embraced the band before anywhere else could. The original demo differs a lot from the final version since Bob Ezrin basically rearranged the entire thing. His big contributions are the guitar solo, which he taught Ace note for note, some piano work, and it was his idea to set the story during the intro with the newscast and car sound effects, which adds more of a cinematic approach to the tune. He also really made the band stretch their musical abilities away from the basic meat and potatoes style that they had going for them during their first couple of albums. And surprisingly, while this is one of the band's most well-known songs and a classic rock radio staple, this was the third single released from the album, and it didn't do anything in the charts, but the flip side of that single is a whole other story. Track 2, King of the Nighttime World. Now, this song was originally by the Hollywood Stars and was written by their manager Kim Fowley and band member Mark Anthony. Paul and Bob made some slight modifications to it to make it more Kiss-like, and given Bob's involvement, he also used the Hollywood Stars track Escape for Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. The original version has plenty of swagger, but yet it felt unrefined, and Kiss's version turned it into a more cinematic and developed piece, which also pushed the band's musical boundaries with the 7/8 time signature in the middle break of the song. Track 3, God of Thunder. Now, this was Paul's attempt at writing a Gene song, attempting to steer clear from his usual snappier writing style. Bob had the final say as to who would sing it on the record, and ultimately it would become Gene. A song that referenced Aphrodite and love would be demonized to where it would very much become Gene's signature song, to which he would spit blood during the live show. And to add to the demonic atmosphere of the song, Bob Ezrin got his kids to add some screams to the song, and Peter's tribal-sounding drums were recorded through an elevator shaft, which had a very boomy sound to it, and then they were reversed. Track 4, Great Expectations. This is certainly one of Gene's most Lennon-McCartney sounding songs to be done by the band. The original lyrics, which reference each member of the band, were deemed too personal, and Bob suggested the perspective be changed as if the singer was singing to the crowd. This is one of the most aggro songs on the album with its sophisticated arrangement, Gene's out-of-demon character vocal delivery, the orchestrations, vocals by the Brooklyn Boys Choir, and to top it all off, the opening motif is lifted from Beethoven's Piano Sonata No. 8 in C minor. Imagine saying Kiss and Beethoven in a single sentence. Hard to believe. Now we're going to flip the album over to side 2, track 5, Flaming Youth. This has a rather collaborative writing credit between Gene, Paul, Bob, and Ace. This song originated from a Gene demo of a song called Mad Dog. It was Bob's idea to include a calliope in the song's arrangement, which gave it sort of a circusy vibe to it, which the band wasn't really too keen on. The song was the second single to be released from the album, and it was performed live early on in the album's tour before being dropped entirely. Track 6, Sweet Pain. This is another Gene song that germinated from a demo called Night Boy. Now, this song has some notoriety, and only because of the guitar solo. The one you hear on the record was by guitarist Dick Wagner, who had worked with Alice Cooper on the albums Bob had produced, and Dick Wagner does some supplementary work on other tracks on this album, such as Flaming Youth and Beth. Now, the story goes is that Ace had laid a solo, which can be heard on the remixed version of the album called Destroyer Resurrected. It must have been not to Bob's liking, so Dick Wagner cut a solo, and when Ace heard the final album, he then realized that his solo wasn't used. Track 7, Shout It Out Loud. The basis of this song actually harks back to the Wicked Lester days when they did a cover of the Hollies' I Wanna Shout. The chorus of that song became the basis for this one when Gene, Paul, Bob were working out ideas. This song ultimately has all the trappings of a Kiss classic since it comes across as anthemic, has a memorable guitar solo, and the trade-off vocals between Gene and Paul. This song was also the first single to be released off the album. Track 8, Beth. Now, this song germinated from a song that Peter's old band Chelsea did in 1970 called Beck, which was written by Peter and Stan Penridge. Gene had suggested to change the song's name from Beck to Beth to avoid any confusion with Jeff Beck. Bob contributed some extra lyrics, reworked the melodies, played piano and orchestral arrangements performed by the New York Philharmonic, so he did earn a writing credit. The band thought the song was a throwaway, but it did fit the musical scope of the album. Now, the song was the flip side of the Detroit Rock City single, and with 3 singles failing to make such an impact for the album, radio stations started to play Beth. So the single was reissued with the A and B sides flipped, and it became the band's first top 10 hit. Sales and chart success picked up again for Destroyer, and the song won a People's Choice Award for Favorite Song in 1977. Track 9, Do You Love Me, a Paul Stanley and Kim Fowley collaboration along with Bob. Taking inspiration from the Contours song of the same name, Paul aimed to write a song that told a story, one that involves a woman loving everything to do with the rock and roll lifestyle, but the protagonist keeps posing the question, do you love me? Given the subject matter, it can be seen as one of the Star Child's signature songs. So Do You Love Me is the album's closing track, but listeners will be in for a surprise with the untitled hidden track, with this commonly referred to as Rock and Roll Party. It combines one of Paul Stanley's stage raps with a choral arrangement from the chorus of Great Expectations. Depending on the source, the band felt that it was done to extend the album a bit since it clocked in rather short, or, according to Bob Ezrin, who was responsible for assembling this tag, it was a way to round off the listening experience of the album. As for where this album stands in my Kiss catalog ranking, I would put Destroyer at the number 1 spot. I feel like most people would say this is an easy bet, but I'm sure most others would agree, and when it comes to someone who has never approached Kiss before, this is the album that I think would perk a lot of their ears given its diversity. Bob Ezrin came to the front and did what he does best. He transformed the band, took what was great about them, and made it better. Now, prior to Destroyer, the first 3 albums kind of followed the same formula of writing about girls and the rock and roll lifestyle. Bob pushed them to write more thematically, elaborate on production and arrangements. 2/3 of this album are concert staples and classics that fans will always remember them by, and everything I stated are elements that contribute in making this album their Sgt. Pepper. So there you guys go. That is the 4th episode of the 25 Days of KISSmas series. Stay tuned tomorrow for the 5th episode, and you can already guess what comes next. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning. Treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow.